Welcome to r/MaliciousCompliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. Team of experienced programmers take delight in teaching an inexperienced liaison the complexities of coding. The plan backfires when their skilled expertise becomes irreplaceable. The second story. Tasked with creating a business plan despite lacking business knowledge, an unsuspecting individual uncovers embezzlement within a grant-funded project. Their report leads to personal decision to prioritize integrity over complicity and corruption. The third story. Infuriating encounter unfolds as a person diligently sends required paperwork, only to be met with condescension and dismissive behavior. They resort to malicious compliance. The first story is, teach him how to do your job. Okay, boss. So this happened a good 15 years ago, and another story just reminded me of it. To keep it short, 15 years ago and some change I worked for a local computer programming company that made automation software. Our company got bought out by a bigger national company, and after the dust settled, corporate decided they were going to send a liaison down to our local office to learn how you do things to be a better bridge between offices. AKA, hey new hires, teach our guy how to do your job so we can let 3 or 4 of you go before next quarter. None of us were happy about that, but our new corporate overlords had spoken. A month or so later, here's our liaison fellow all ready to go. So show me the interface, he said. Oh, that's when we all stopped, looked at each other and grinned. For you see, the reason it took us so long to bring new people up to speed is that we didn't configure new projects. Configure in this corporate speak meant, go check off the boxes in an interface until it does what you want. No, my good friends, we coded everything by hand. Our main program accepted straight-up VB files, not even scripts, full-on files, and our new friend here was not a programmer, at all. The guy didn't know a for loop from a bubble sort. So as we were instructed, we started walking him through our code. Here's our X policy. It's the most common one we use, and is about 1,500 lines of code in its base form. Didn't you guys say you had some default policies you worked from? Oh yeah, but they end up being more trouble trying to customize than it is to just write the entire thing from scratch. So up here is where we're declaring our global variables. To our friend's credit, he tried. Oh, he tried for days. And every time we thought he was about to figure something out, we intentionally switched him up to an even worse one. We hired requiring a computer science degree, 6 months of on-site gearing up, and another 6 months of shadowing before we would let anyone handle a project on their own. This poor guy got the full year's worth of training in a week. To his credit, on his last day he flat out told us he was sent down to learn how to replace us, but that he was going to tell them that we were doing a great job, and if anything our time frames were surprisingly short, given what we were doing. We ran that department for a good 5 years before the inevitable revolving door of upper management decided to bring in a new easier-to-use suite. People are still kvetching about, man, I miss X. It could have done this in half the time. And instead of a 5-man team upkeeping everything, we have multiple departments that still can't manage to fix a broken image link in the new stuff 10 years later. Side note, same job. Our VP at the smaller company single-handedly wrote the main program. He was also very much of the I'd rather fix it myself than spend a week teaching someone how to do something that should never actually come up kind of guy. When we were bought, he had back surgery already scheduled. Long story short, he was high as salary, and his job was retired while he was out. So he didn't get fired while on protected medical leave. His job just didn't exist anymore. Wasn't long before who knows how to fix this was followed by name here. We were on a client-facing call when that came up again, and our higher-ups said out loud, with the client on the line, I really wish we hadn't fired that guy. The next story is, assign the incompetent guy the task of making a business plan. I was told to post this here. Perhaps this person will recognize the story and see that I did as I was told. Many years ago, I was tasked with making a business plan for a women-owned and operated business in a rural low-income area where English is not spoken. There was a big grant from outside the country that made this project happen, and a country-based NGO, non-governmental organization, that managed the grant. The business had been dependent on the grant for years. The idea was to use the business plan to make the business independent and self-sufficient, so the grant could then go to a new rural area and begin again with a new business employing new women. I worked for the NGO administering the grant. I explained that I was not the best person to do a business plan because I don't speak the language. I never owned a business. I don't have a business degree, nor have I ever taken a business course. I don't have any experience or knowledge of what a business plan is. They insisted that none of the above disqualify me from making a business plan for this project. I should also say that I didn't have the internet to help me. The internet was 3 long bus rides away and would require a stay overnight at a hotel where I would use an expensive internet cafe that had viruses and keystroke loggers and charged by the minute. The 90s. That would all be on my dollar, so I didn't do it. I didn't have a car. The town had one phone line with no outlet. It was just a piece of copper wire to an old phone guarded by the guy who also reads all your mail. Phone calls were expensive. I imagined that a business plan assessed the efficiency of use of assets and also tracked and categorized all income and expenses. This was the basis for my plan. I started asking questions and I was asked for the finished plan. I explained that it was taking a bit longer than expected because of language barriers, but a description of the grant would help. I got a pile of unorganized papers. Some of the papers were in English. I found out that the grant purchased a truck to collect and deliver raw materials and finished products. There were no vehicles in the village. A bus came through, but no one owned a vehicle. No one had ever seen a truck. Also, it said that the grant purchased the building of the business. However, in talking with the locals many times using redundant terms and phrases to ensure understanding, I learned that the building was rented. I met the owner who had no affiliation with the business. They just sat collecting rent money each month. This was surprising because I had been told by the NGO that the building was owned by the business. I imagined that somewhere there was someone in the capital city sitting on a fat stash of cash, enough to buy a house, and driving a free truck to their summer house with a pool. It occurred to me that they picked me to make the business plan because I wouldn't do a thorough job and find these discrepancies. They also would not expect me to report their embezzlement to the organization doing the embezzlement. However, that is what I did. I told the NGO that self-sufficiency would always be a long way off if the business was hampered by rent that was more than collective monthly wages. I mentioned that selling the truck might help, as it appeared to not be used for the purpose listed in the grant. I sent my business plan in. The country that provided the grant visited. The missing truck mysteriously showed up. The ambassador person was surprised to see me in this rural village. I looked like I was not from there, and they spoke some English. They asked if I lived there. I said yes. They asked if I knew what was going on. I said yes. The NGO person from the capital was there and overheard. They knew what I knew and also knew that the ambassador would not love to hear about embezzlement, even though it's common to low-income areas with NGOs. That's when I lost my job. I never told the ambassador that money was misappropriated. I believe that to do so would result in some consequences. Trumped-up charges for embarrassing country officials, where I would be at a tremendous disadvantage in country that ambassador would not be able to help me with. Also, the fact that the conversation ended there tells me that the ambassador was not at their first rodeo and knew that it was 90% performance. I think he genuinely wanted to see some good come to the village, even if it didn't meet the level specified in the grant. I think the question about "do you know what's going on" was merely to see if I saw what he was seeing. I feel proud of what I did because I probably could have turned in a crap business plan, and they would have praised me for it. But I did exactly what I was told even though it was difficult and challenging, and for that my services were no longer needed. I guess I'm missing the part where they face consequences of my compliance, but it felt good to let them know they were not so sly, as they thought, and I got out of a situation where I could have been partly blamed for corruption had I stayed. Edit. They could have had an accountant, and they had many spend half a day from the capital, who knew the language make a business plan that told the story they wanted to tell. They wanted it to come from me so it would seem to be vetted from outside the organization maybe. I'm not so sure. However, things did not go according to plan when they bet on me. I made a mess of it. I wish I was there to see who saw my business plan in the fallout. I know someone was angry because I lost my position and the ability to work in that country. But I can't go to another country and make corruption stop like magic. I'm not qualified to say what makes corruption go away for sure, but I would guess a higher standard of living is a start. If people have enough to eat, stay healthy, and care for children, then they won't risk the position and reputations for a little more. This is my uneducated guess. Since this happened, I never went back to that kind of work, so I don't have the coursework or experience to back this idea up. The third story is, you got angry because you kept demanding paperwork I had already sent you? Okay. So this happened a few minutes ago, and I've never really had one of these moments before, and I'm reeling at how absolutely exasperating that exchange was. Normally I'm a pretty passive, happy-go-lucky person, but this just got way under my skin that I decided to do something about it. Do I feel a little guilty? Yeah, but also I'm at the point where I didn't know what else to do, so cue malicious compliance, I suppose. So I'm trying to go to college as an adult, but after a wicked bad separation I can't afford the $2,300 for this course. I explained it to the financial aid person for the school, and she asked for a copy of my separation agreement to prove I was actually split. Yeah, no problem. I can do that. I sent the blank PDF of the full agreement, along with a photo of the signatures, and explained my ex-spouse, and I had to print it and sign it in person. So here was the signatures to go along with the PDF. A few weeks later, I get a phone call of a woman very quickly condescendingly telling me that she had a blank signature PDF. And what do I do with a PDF with no signature? There's nothing here. Can't you see I'm trying to help you? You didn't send me anything. But her voice was so incredibly snide and rude from the get-go, and didn't even, consider there may be more than one attachment in the email, or to read the body saying the signature page had to be printed. I've also attached a photo of it for proof. Nope, I was a buffoon. An absolute loon who sent a blank PDF just to waste her time and energy. I brushed it off as her having a bad day, and tried to be friendly and helpful and say, okay. Yeah, so in the same email if you go here, there's the second attachment, and that has the signatures on it. It's the exact same page as in the PDF, just printed and signed. She immediately jumped on me going, yeah, but you didn't send it. There's nothing wrong here, and kept getting progressively SH at me, and kept accusing me of stuff and not listening to me or letting me talk. After a few times of me trying to politely explain that I was looking at the email, and that there was definitely two attachments, the agreement and the signatures, I just go, okay, no problem. Here, I'll send it again. Do you see it now? Well, she did, but then she goes, this is only the signature page. Where's the separation agreement? What am I supposed to do with just signatures? Where's the rest of the agreement? I then also politely explained that the rest of the agreement is the exact same as the PDF I sent her, which mind you is obviously really effing long. This thing is in an effing binder. She already has the PDF, confirmed she had it of course, but kept insisting that she wanted the printed one too because they were different. I ask her what she means, because I say if she has the full agreement, then the only page that's different is the page with the signatures. The rest is all just text describing, what my ex and I agreed on when we split. She demands why doesn't she have this one though? So I tell her I can take pictures of it if she really wants, and she's just talking over me, and goes, yes, good, finally do that, without actually listening to me. So we hang up and I proceeded to take a photo of every single page and email them to her. But Gmail has a limit of 5 items at a time. So after a few emails of me sending one page at a time of exactly everything she's already read, I swiftly get an email back explaining that she'll get back to me whether I'm eligible or not and to stop. I may have effed myself on getting a bursary for school, but she was already trying to deny me and wouldn't even let me talk to explain it. So we'll see how it goes, I guess. Hopefully she listens to the next person when they try to tell her it's the exact same thing. Edit. To everyone saying she probably couldn't accept the signatures as a separate attachment, that's perfectly reasonable if that's the case. She, however, didn't bother to even let me ask what exactly was wrong, and refused to explain anything to me. She just yelled at me and belittled me. I can't really go, oh, did you mean this? I can send it this way if you'd like. If she doesn't allow me to clarify even for a breath. I appreciate that legally she was probably correct, but there's zero way I would have known any of that even if she did. Edit 2. I got approved. I took the advice of following up and advocating for myself at the ridiculous situation, and it's all good and it's been acknowledged, and I've gotten funding for school. Thank you everyone who told me to stick up for myself. It means so much to me. On to schooling. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Have a good day.